I have it. Oh, thank God. Hi everyone. Sorry if I seem flustered. Tatiana just said something very toddy like.
Wow.
Look, the first week back after holidays is already always hard for everyone.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
Cecile.
Girl, we haven't even gone. We haven't even started yet. So, guys, we're gonna play you some, fun footage, music, and we'll be right back. Don't you dare go anywhere.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Flash Podcast. Your podcast for all of your series, The Flash, starring Grant Gustin as Barry Allen, aka The Flash. I'm your host, Andy B, as always, and joining me, as always, are my amazing co-hosts, Hadi, Lazy, and Breeze. Girls, how you doing today?
I'm preparing to get my COVID booster shot, so I am doing excellent.
Well, we love you for
Here comes your superpowers. I
Yes,
still can't move anything with my mind, and I'm a little sad about that.
You mean magnets don't stick to your brain, Lizzie?
No. And I was told by, some very reputable people online that would happen.
I'm getting mine next month. So yeah, if everyone is watching, if you can get your booster shot, get it. Stay safe, and speaking of staying safe, hope everyone had a great holiday. Hope you enjoyed some good turkey. Or if you were in San Diego for Comic-Con Special Edition, which was, y'all, that was just insane seeing photos from that weekend. And our guest who's with us today, she knows all about it. So speaking of our guests, because we had Black Lighting on in this episode, I thought, you know what, we gotta get someone from the Black Lighting podcast, which is now known as the Naomi podcast. So it's my honor to welcome back the lovely, the talented, the beautiful, the geektastical Vanessa Shark. Vanessa, welcome back to the Flashback. How are you doing today?
Hey, thank you for the intro. I am beautiful and fantastical. Thank you. Doing good. Came back from San Diego on Monday. It was really fun. I didn't actually go to the con, but we stayed at the Hilton right there, like right by it. And like we walked past the convention center every day. It was really cool seeing everyone dressed up and was nice being around nerds again. But it was
how
cool.
Many people, how many people were there? Like, was it?
It clearly lot more. No, it wasn't the same because I've been to Comic-Con, like the big, like the normal one, and it wasn't nearly as big as that. Like we could actually get into places, and like there wasn't like mobs of people in the street, but it was a lot busier than I thought it was going to be. At least I don't know how many exact people were there, but it was a good chunk of people dressed up, and there were kids dressed up, and it was really cute. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know you and I we were talking about it and so on. See, you sent me photos, so I'm just like, oh my god, like I really just want to be back there. I want to go back to Comic-Con so badly, and like and also I was thrown because I didn't think any of the studios were gonna send any like talent or whatever. So and then suddenly John Cena's like, hold my beer, and he shows up as Peacemaker, and I'm like, okay. But no, it looked like people were having fun. Hopefully they were staying safe because God knows we need it right now, especially because of some of the recent news that have been coming out in the last few days. But we are where we are. So, but you know what? We're live, as I just realized. So everyone who's watching right now, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're gonna get to the episode. But before we do, we have some news, and so and Amell is coming back to the Arrowverse. Not Stephen Amell, not yet. He's busy with heel stills, but his cousin Robbie Amell, who we all love as Ronnie Raymond, aka the original Firestorm, he's coming back to the Flash later this season for 2 episodes. It's gonna start in episode 11. Although it's unclear what brings him back to the Flash. Is he, are we gonna see Caitlin tortured again about her dead husband? Is she gonna get her happy ending? Is he a ghost? Is he a doppelganger? So, but I guess we will see. Ladies, any thoughts on Robbie Amell's return?
I'm just so afraid that this is going to be something horrible for Caitlin and not something good.
Right. I
mean, I feel like it's just going to be like, Caitlin's crazy and has visions of her dead husband. Or
the Denny arc.
Like, it's going to be something terrible.
I hope it's not terrible. Someone said this as like I really hope it's not this, but someone was like, oh my god, if they make Robbie Amell Marcus and they just make him Ronnie's doppelganger and that's what Caitlin ends up with, I'm gonna be so furious. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. That's exactly what should happen, actually. But in reality.
Our buddy Keenan from and then Breeze's co-host friend just like Dark Pocket saying, just when Caitlin is ready to move on.
Exactly. This is the final test. This is why they had her mention just Ronnie and not the other dudes.
And not the other 3 guys she's dated who have died or been evil.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to remember them either, but like they did happen.
I like Julian. I really did like Julian once he wasn't like Dr. Alchemy anymore. Like it's like I mean I had to remind myself like what season was he even in? When I think we were talking about all of Caitlin's love interest in the first episode of the season, and I'm like, when was Tom Felton on this show? And like I had to go back, like, oh, he was wearing the weird mask, the hoodie, and running around with a stone, being like, it's the Philosopher's Stone, but not the one that everyone grew up with, Harry Potter. But no, I look forward to see him. Oh, here's another comment from Mind the Gap says, I would love to see a new Firestorm that is Jackson Ronnie. That could have been
interesting. I mean, Jax did come back for the Legends 100th episode, so maybe he's ready to return to the role.
And I wouldn't mind that at all.
I would also be into that, mostly because I feel like the show has really just struggled to put Caitlin with anybody who isn't some form of Ronnie, and like maybe we should just go with it.
I'm also down with going with it.
Yeah, no, we want everyone on the show to have be happy, get to be with people, and not with crazy doppelgangers who pretend to be Jake Eric or people who wears alchemy masks or whatnot. But yeah, it'll be interesting. There's a lot of returns this year. A lot of old faces. So, but yeah, I guess we'll see what his return will be like. I mean, I always feel that they've always left him unresolved because, like, at the end, when when he sacrificed himself in Flash 201. Like, unless I'm one of those people who's like, if there ain't no body, then
that's true. That's true. No body, no crime. That's what they say. Exactly. They are Taylor Swift.
To another Earth, we never know. We don't know. Just like Jay's hat came, or his hat came over here. I always maintain that Ronnie just got flung to another multiverse. Like, I never thought he was dead, to be honest.
Yeah, I support it. And if they want to explain away why he hasn't got back all this time, it could be like one of those time moving differently things. He's like, it's only been a week for me.
Yeah.
He's like 8 years later. He's like, "Whoa, Barry, what happened to your suit? Iris, you have red hair now."
Hey, Caitlin, my wife.
Caitlin has a twin sister.
Iris is a natural redhead. Okay.
Sorry.
Iris is a natural redhead.
Clearly,
love it. I love it so much. And we will definitely talk about it. So let's get into this episode. Episode 3 of season 8 called Armageddon Part 3, and it was written by Sam Shelson and directed by Chris Pepe. So Toddy, talk about your favorite character.
My favorite character is Cecile. Okay. I don't even know what the A plot is this episode because I was so focused on Cecile being crazy. So as Barry is trying to, get rid of his powers, which we'll talk about later, Cecile is trying to find him, locate him before Despero does, which is interesting because by the way she's acting, I would think she just wants Despero to murder him already because she's so mad at everybody anytime that Joe is mentioned. And when Iris starts to question that maybe Barry is not crazy after all, maybe Barry actually is onto something and Joe's death is a conspiracy of some kind, Cecile is like, how dare you? He was just your father, but he was the father of my child that I never see. And that child is grieving because now she will never know her father. She thought that it was only temporary, but now that he was retired, she was going to get to hang out with him, and then he died. So,
I mean, it's not like Joe spent a ton of time with Jenna already, so, does she notice? I don't know.
Exactly. When she was like, we are grieving. I was like, is Jenna grieving? I don't know that that's true.
Where is Jenna?
Notices a difference. But...
where is Jenna while she's mind melding with half the town and running around? Do they have regular childcare? This is a question we ask often, but
they mentioned a babysitter at one point. I
hope that babysitter is getting paid.
Right. We should have met that person by now. I think sometimes they also mentioned why can't I remember his name now? Sing.
Yeah, he watched her once.
Yeah. So that was beautiful. Anyway,
I do want to mention that
a nanny.
That she calls her young what she call her, young Jenna instead
she called her baby
little Jenna.
Yeah, didn't she call her baby Jenna? I thought she called her baby Jenna. No,
she called her something different than baby Jenna, and I'm like, finally, they're acknowledging she cannot be a baby forever.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, so Cecile teams up with, of all people, Rosa Dillon, the top, in order to mind meld, or as they called it, a telepathic conjoining, the literal worst name that you could call anything, in order to visualize where Barry is. They do this a couple times. It's very traumatizing and or orgasmic, depending on which of the two you are. But at first, Cecile can't fully access her powers because she keeps thinking about Joe, and Top is like, stop doing that. But then Caitlin is like, do that. And so then Cecile does that more. And then she sees Barry. And then Despero comes and murders Top. Except it's okay. She's not dead. She was just bleeding out of her head for a little bit. Don't worry about it.
Literally
just
everybody else was just leave her. We're fine.
Just bleeding out of her head. Just look. Oh, I love our toddy. I love my toddy. I love Toddy's toddy.
That's what I'm here for, to provide toddy caps. So anyway, Despero's off to find Barry, but at least Cecile is extra superhero-y now, and I think she has X-ray vision. She shot lasers out of her eyes. I don't know what happened. You guys remember that? I was like, is this a telepathic power? What is going on?
It kind of looks like Allegra's powers.
That's what I thought too.
Eyeballs.
Yeah,
and I was like, is she like a I read a lot of fantasy novels, and there's always that person who's their powers rogue, you touch someone or whatever, and then you can manifest their powers. And I was like, what the hell?
So what did we think of that storyline? Would you like to begin, Vanessa, as our honored guest?
Sure. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was really terrible. Like, I mean, I don't know. I used to really like Cecile a lot, and then I don't know what happened to her character. I've just become, I don't know if it's when she got powers or something, but I've just been less and less enthusiastic about her over the last couple of seasons. And this episode basically was just like, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, we can just keep it. We can just reduce her screen time. We don't need to spend that much time on her. Like, I'm just, her behavior, like, I get it. You're a grieving wife, or not even a wife. I'm sorry. You're a grieving baby mama. Like, I get it. I actually do get it. My father died a couple weeks ago. So I literally just saw my mom going through all of this. So like these episodes actually kind of triggering. Like, I was like, Joe can't be dead. I knew the villain was messing around because this isn't right. And like, it was a little bit hard for me to watch that portion of it, but like, I get where Cecile's coming from, but you don't handle that way. My mom would never in her life yell at a grieving child. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I was so like personally offended by the way they wrote Cecile in this episode, because like that was just mad disrespectful. Like, Iris, we have seen more of Iris and Joe's relationship than we've ever seen of Cecile and Joe's relationship. We've seen more of Iris and Joe's relationship than we've seen of Jenna and Joe's relationship. I think we've seen Joe carry Jenna once. Like, it's
if even that.
Yeah, like it's the impact, the weight of the show was trying to add weight to a moment that didn't have in it because they never put any scenes to back it up. We know Iris, and like we've seen countless of speeches and talks about from Iris and Joe. We've seen him hold her and hug her and comfort her, and it felt like they didn't give her enough space to be grieving about it, and gave Cecile all of the weight, and that bothered me a lot because Cecile has been around for less time than Iris has, and if this is what Iris wants to do, the team should fall in line. I don't get what's going on. It was all of that was just, and then of course her plan was stupid and it failed and it was dumb and it was stupid. Sorry, I just like, I'm trying not to use words like that anymore, but it did not work anyway. So why don't we just listen to Iris every season? We do this. No, Iris, we can't do that. And then she's right anyway. Anyway, so the A plot, I suppose, was not worth that. Was not worth it. We should have had more time with Jefferson. Yeah, that's what I feel. Sorry.
No, if I could just jump on that, because I know people on Twitter, like they were like, gagging at, Iris' reaction, like when, Cecile shut the computer. So you see like Candace's like, it was a perfect reaction. But for me, I was very much in your lane, Vanessa, feeling that like this is so in many ways unearned, and that it feels like so like, I don't know what this show is trying to do with Cecile. Like, I love this show, but if there's one of the things that I've not really been able to figure out since whenever she became a series regular is what the show is trying to do with her. Like, I think when she got the powers, it got worse. Like, I liked her as kind of like the surrogate mom, like in the beginning, and like I think like if she, I think if she didn't have powers, but maybe that it would have been different, and so and the fact that I felt like Cecile in many ways was almost trying to erase Iris's perspective from having lost Joe, even though we all know Joe is not dead, we know we're gonna get him back, and so on. It just feels like in the moment it just feels so almost cruel. Like, it actually is cruel of Cecile to be like focusing so much on herself, but not again yelling at a grieving child. Like Vanessa said, again, I love the comments are living for you, Vanessa. They're like, Vanessa is speaking all the truths. I'll actually throw up one here. Vanessa speaking all the truths from Keenan. Yeah, because it is so accurate. This doesn't work for me. And the thing is that I don't say this very often. With the exception of Allegra, I was so disappointed in Team Flash this week. And I rarely do I find episodes of this show where I just hate the team. There's very few times in this whole we've been watching the show for 8 years. There are rare moments where I like completely just like, F this team, go to hell. I don't care for you. This week I was all about it. And
yeah, same. It was the first time I was like, we need to just abolish Team Flash. I'm done.
Yeah, I was just like, that's why I was like, I'm glad at least one of them went and actually like, she, Allegra, again, bless Allegra for actually like, let's try to voice Iris' concern and like actually like try, hey, you know what, guys, Iris has been right before about this. Can we just listen and try and like, yeah, and and I guess it's a CW angle of it all where like there has to be unnecessary drama and tension and so on, but these are characters in their late 20s at this point, or at the very least. It's like, guys, we need to be more mature than this. So, but yeah,
I absolutely agree with all of this. But first, Breeze, would you like to go?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. They just pushed Cecile's character way too far to one direction. Like, she was completely inappropriate with Iris. They tried to give her that moment with Caitlin where they're kind of like, bonding over like both having grieved people they've lost. But like after all her, I want to use a curse word, but I won't. But after all her drama with Iris, it's just like, I don't care. Like the scene, it's not moving to me. Like maybe if Cecile had not been a total a-hole, like, and she was the end of the last episode too with Barry, she like freaked out. Because Barry clearly, like, I mean, the man clearly, like, had amnesia or, like, something was wrong with him. And she would just, like, flipped her lid. I'm like, you really want to give this woman, like, the Cerebro helmet? Like, I would not trust her right now with that kind of power. She clearly is not well. So, yeah, there's just not a lot more to say. I agree with Andy. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with this character. I agree that, like, her and Joe's relationship has not been as developed as it could have been. I think especially because like they, at least last season, they just didn't really share many storylines or scenes. So for us to go from that to her losing him, it just doesn't gel.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And Lacey, would you like to top us off, and then I will just continue to do that?
I will say that I just felt really bad for Danielle Nicolette because I feel like the episode asked her to like turn it up to 11 like 5 times, and maybe we could have dialed that back a little bit and it wouldn't have been quite so like aggressive. I hate to ever use the word shrill to describe a female character because it doesn't, like, it's usually not accurate, and people tend to use shrill when they mean a lot of other like very much less flattering terms. But it's
what was the word?
Shrill.
What does that mean?
I'm trying to think of like the easiest way to like just sort of really like loud, squawky, like screechy. They usually people usually use it when they are trying to imply that like women's arguments should not be taken seriously because they're like emotional or speaking emotionally or something like that. So I don't really like to use that word if I can avoid it, but I feel like that's exactly like the only direction they gave her because it was so relentlessly just sort of loud and over the top, and there was just no build to any of it. It came out of nowhere, which I guess on some level makes a little bit of sense because like for her, she thinks her husband's dead and has been dead for 6 months, and for us this is all brand new information that we're like, that's probably not right. So I don't know, it's hard to judge her for that, but it's also just like not fun at all to watch. And I really dislike that the show put Iris and Cecile into some weird like grief Olympics, like whose pain is bigger and whose pain matters more, and it's just, I think that's gross. And those are my thoughts.
I totally agree. Like I don't know if it was like a directing issue, of a writing issue, or like just like all the issues combined. Because not only did I think that just like as a character, Cecile was being disrespectful, and the series was like trying to ask us to take something seriously, that yes, like it is a real emotion she's going through, but that we as the audience cannot really put her pain above Barry's or Iris's. And the show completely ignored Iris's for 2 episodes. I would never have guessed that Joe had died based on how Iris was acting until before the reveal. And then this episode, they finally let her have a reaction. And try to handle it in her way. And Cecile immediately shuts her down like she's wrong for even contemplating that because she is not Joe's partner in life or whatever. So yeah, that was ridiculous on many fronts. And then I don't know, again, like maybe the directing like from Danny Nicolet's performance, I felt like I couldn't tell if I should be taking Cecile seriously or if I should be thinking Cecile is possessed. Like, I'm like, is there, like, legitimately, I'm like,
No,
is
it's true
Cecile
though.
possessed?
Like, I hadn't thought of it that way in terms of like, is she possessed? But it truly felt like, not that that's wildly out of character for someone who is grieving, but like for her to just constantly be at that one note of it felt really like, it felt like a flag for me as a viewer that I should be like suspect of this because it was so weird.
Right. And then I guess that feeds into like that whole like off kilter feeling, like in what world would Caitlin and Chester be like, well, whatever Cecile wants to do, I guess, bye, Iris, you know, Cecile is our leader now. I was like, what?
Yeah.
so
I
like,
would have bolted. I would have bolted, jolted.
bolted. Yeah, bolted is correct. I could fault the characters, but I feel like it's either the writing, like a flaw in the writing and the understanding of the characters, or it's literally like something is actually wrong and we're just not aware yet. You know, because again, like
because like even her whole scene with Rosa, like they're just yelling at each other like at top volume and screaming.
Right. And like it's crazy because one of my favorite Cecile scenes, like throughout in the show, is her helping Harry when Harry was going off and he was like, well, I don't know how to deal with my anger and stuff. And she like talked to, like, she was like the calm, cool person. And I really liked her helping him out in the situation. So it's very weird to see her like this. Because, and I get it, she's grieving, but like you guys are right. Like she was at like 100 the entire time. It was like all one note, and like it felt like there were no levels to her grief. I guess, and that's like not normal. Like you have levels of grief. Like you're relieved, you're happy, you're sad, you're like there's no normal way to process grief, but you're not just one thing the whole time. So I don't know.
Yeah. And also the fact that it was like a switch, right? Because before that, Cecile was like being quote unquote normal, except for when Chester made that one joke and then was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. And you're like, okay, Cecile's going through something, but this is like relatively normal. And then suddenly Barry said the magic words. And it's like activate. Cecile was activated.
Yeah.
Let's look in the chat and see what people are saying.
There's a lot about Faust in the chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just think of poor Breeze and Keenan being like, they're all doing all this Constantine Justice League Dark stuff, and they're like, so where's our show? But yeah, Cassie Felix Fowles mentioned, can't believe they thought of Constantine off screen. I can't believe it either. Keenan is going, the Foss mention threw me off. Foss being who sparked Justice Protocol, which that was interesting. We'll talk about it in a moment. I reversed 3 times to make sure what I heard. I would like to see a Faust fight.
That would be amazing. That would
I'm disappointed we didn't get to see that on screen.
Speaking of the Injustice Protocol.
Go on.
No, that's for the next thing. I was trying to do a segue, but if we're not segue.
That was really well handled.
Thank you.
Sorry. I was going through the comments because again, since we're live, I want to make people. Let's see. Mind the Gap says, like, it's hard to get excited about Team Flash without Jay, Wally Barr, Jesse, or even a TV character like Nora West Allen. Yeah, I was definitely missing my speedsters in this episode where I was like, Caitlin, Cecile, Chester, go. Just leave it for the time being. Let's see. Keenan. I keep saying almost. I want to say Keeks, but I keep saying Keenan. My brain is just automatic. But Cecile, it was a total me thinks thou does protest too much action. I can see that. Mind the Gap said, I couldn't even remember the villain this episode or why she got so much time. Yeah. It's just so funny that Rosa is like they've made the top kind of like a villain for Cecile. When I'm just like, the top is really a rogue and it's supposed to be a Flash villain. Why? What is happening here? Keeks is saying, my feelings about Cecile has been up and down since her introduction. I liked her in the earlier season. I liked the kind of like, when she was an attorney and she is, Joe had their thing and so on. I think really it's just when she got her powers, something just didn't work for me, because now it's like she's being so inserted into the story way more than I think she should be. And again, it's like what reality we live. I mean, it must be the Armageddon verse for her to be like, I'm now the team leader of Team Flash, but let's go stop Barry, or whatever. Okay, but I guess we can okay, well then let's shall we talk about the Injustice League, or is that part of my segment?
Yes, because
Okay.
they were doing the Injustice Protocol.
Yeah, so as we saw at the end of the episode, end of last week's episode, Barry goes to the Hall of Justice, the very messed up, unclean Hall of Justice. Come on, Barry, we need to fix this. After Armageddon, you need to fix this. I'm like, get some paintwork done, fix the floor, like
Get, like,
IKEA.
a maid for this.
Yeah, like
And
IKEA.
somebody
Can
put
we?
it in dust.
IKEA, like, is IKEA not a thing in the Arrowverse? Like, go to IKEA, get some furniture and stuff and so on. Like, we need to we need to make this space beautiful. We need to make Hall of Justice. First of all, we need to make the Hall of Justice the new headquarters, because I didn't miss Star Labs in this episode. I really didn't miss Star Labs whatsoever. So maybe that says something about whether or not Star Labs should even be part of the show anymore. But Black Lightning is here, and they talk about the Injustice Protocol, which, you know, I think, like many of us had guessed, that it wasn't like a full-on adaptation of the storyline, but instead it's a protocol in this universe that I think they created after Crisis, where if one of them ever goes rogue, that they have like a partner that will remove the other person's power. In this case, it is our boy Black Lightning, Jefferson Pierce, Chris Williams, looking fabulous and strong and incredible as always. And again, I love this costume so much. And again, now I'm even more upset that the Funko doesn't even have him in his new costume. Vanessa, I'm so upset. Now I want it even more. But yeah, he and Barrett, they get to have this, this big storyline throughout the episode, and they talk about their backgrounds and kind of, what the Injustice Protocol is, and we see some big action beats between them. So Vanessa, what was it like seeing Jefferson and Barry getting to have this whole arc together and so on?
First of all, I love seeing Crest in a suit again. I love his hair. He's growing it out. He's one of the actors that I respect a lot, because he loves playing Black Lightning so much. So I really, really love seeing him again. We had already established a bond between the two of them during Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I thought, that was a great building up of that relationship. However, I will say, and Nate, from my brother from the Naomi podcast, and I had talked about this, and we agreed a little bit, did fall into the magical Negro trope a little bit, where the Black man shows up to help the white character, figure out his issues. And I also had issues with just gonna shoot lightning at the lightning dude. Like, okay, like they always, when it doesn't seem like they wanted him to be there, but they didn't really know quite what to do with him for most of the episode until the end, towards the end when Despero showed up. I just wish they could have been a little bit more. The dialogue, the speech, the pep talk, I think, is one of the stronger ones. Crest can deliver, like he's an orator. He's really good at making people feel motivated. I love that he brought up Bill Henderson, and that they made the comparison between Bill and Joe. I'm ACAB all day, but I do respect that Joe and Bill were beacons in their community for their people. Henderson was especially, like, he went hard for Freeland, and him and Crest were him and Jefferson were like best buddies. Like, they, and I love that they actually brought that into the show, because it really hit Crest hard when the actor Damon Gupta was taken off the show. So I appreciate they included that. Love that. Would have loved more like interactions with him and the other characters, but I think that they maybe come together at the end, so maybe we'll see some of that. But all in all, I thought it was really fun. I love the jazz music a bit. Like, finally we get a little bit of like Barry was raised by Black people moment. Like, more of that, and that's something that the Black Lightning host and I talked about a lot. Like, we want more of the Black Lightning X Flash crossovers because, you know, that's the only other Black family centered show on the CW. Well, now it's, you know, there's Batwoman that's trying to do something. I don't know what Batwoman's trying to do, but healthy
Thank you,
Black
Vanessa.
family dynamics. So that, I think those two shows were really great in the CW universe for that. So that's why I always really wanted the two of them to be so I just really like to see that connection. And yeah, Crest looks good, man. He's just aging so fine.
Let me throw up that picture one more time. I mean, like, look at
He
this.
looks so good. Look at that beard. He's got a little bit of gray coming in. Daddy. Sorry.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Lacey, how did you feel about Black Lightning's presence in the episode?
I really loved it for a lot of the reasons that Vanessa already said, but mostly because like that man can just give a pep talk. I want him to come to my house and like make me feel better about
Lacey,
where I
where's
am
the
in my
future?
life.
Lacey, where's the future?
I was just, like I was saying this before we started recording, but like I haven't even finished Black Lightning. Like I've seen I think season 1, but like even I got emotional about that. That was so like just like kick in the chest good. With the where's the future reference, and I was like, oh, Barry,
Whose life is this?
So good. But I also really love sort of just from a slightly like more 30,000 foot view. I love that they have brought, you know, Jefferson and Alex Danvers and these characters from shows that have ended. I'm making air quotes that are technically like, you know, not part of the Arrowverse anymore. Like they've brought them into this event and they have shown that there is a way to still keep these stories alive after the shows have stopped airing, because it's not like Supergirl or Black Lightning stopped and like everybody on their shows, like their lives just stopped right there. Like their lives are still going on even if we're not watching them every week. So I love it just feels so much more, you know, like a legitimate shared universe where all of these people interact in different ways at different points in their lives. And I just want them to do more of this, because it doesn't have to be like a 5-night 5-show thing that takes up like a month on the network or whatever. It can just be like a guest spot, and it's because it's so rich and fulfilling, and I want that for all of these other characters that we don't see anymore.
Breeze, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Crest and Grant just have incredible chemistry. I think their scenes are so good together. I think Crest really brings out the best in Grant's acting, to be honest. And they're great team partners. I think the plot in general, like, it was very intense and emotional because Barry really feels like he has to do this and destroy his powers. It was also a little frustrating because, as like Jefferson points out, like you didn't give me the full details. I could have told you that like you don't need to do this. This is not actually Justice Protocol. So it was very interesting to see that kind of play out. And I love their fight sequence. I mean, I agree it's kind of weird that somehow lightning power would like undo lightning power. I don't understand the science of that, but watching them fight, like that was a really cool action sequence. As much as I hated seeing them mad at each other, I did enjoy the fight sequence.
And Toddy, how about you?
Well, yeah, I also did enjoy them mad at each other, but I did really like the dynamic between them. I loved getting to see Crest's Jefferson again, and his performance was a very calming anchor in the middle of a very crazy episode. So that was nice. I loved, like, I almost teared up when they did the little back and forth of his, like, you know, catchphrase, his motto about
Where's
the
the future, Tatiana?
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Emotion.
It's like I'm not made of stone here. What do you people
Gonna
want?
let it. Yeah. It was beautiful. So I really liked that. And I felt like you got the sense of a whole relationship between Barry and Jefferson that you were not totally witness to on screen. But unlike certain other things in the episode, it felt earned. It felt like they could believably be in this place. That being said, I wanted to mention the Injustice Protocol, right? I was like, how could they call it the Injustice Protocol unless Injustice is an actual video game they play in that universe? Which
Wait,
I
don't
think
they have it in Superman? I'm thinking about it. They play a like superhero video game in Superman and Lois. Is it Injustice?
maybe
Yeah.
it's Injustice.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
yeah.
There you go.
They don't say the name specifically, but it's like,
But
obviously,
you can
like,
see it on the TV, so you can like.
Yeah.
see what
it's
it is.
it's from the game. Yeah.
Oh, right, where they're always beating up like their video
The
game
dad.
dad.
Yeah.
and Jordan being like, "I'm not Superman, I'm Raiden, Dad. Raiden was so much cooler." I'm like, and he was saying it like to Superman. It's just so funny.
That is
Ta-
beautiful.
That's how they go on.
No, I mean just that I thought it was definitely one of the better parts of the episode. Definitely helped make it feel like a crossover for those who are concerned about it not feeling like a crossover. This was definitely a quote unquote crossover, and B, a more in-depth, exploration into one dynamic, which is nice, as opposed to just like let's have 12 people from other shows here and not do anything with them. So that was good. I like it. But I agree that, like, it was very much like Jefferson is just here to help Barry. But I did the part where Barry was like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill your family." That was so
Yeah, I'm
Please
like,
literally like, get my family's name out of your mouth.
exactly. I
I
love
was
his
like-
response.
like
Yeah.
Barry.
Go Freeland on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was just like, Barry, you could never take down the Pierce.
Well, that's true.
women.
That's true. They would take
Um,
him down, certainly.
Yeah, like, and this stuff would destroy Barry. Jennifer would have so much fun, like just like she would like just Vanessa, remember in the season 1 finale when Jennifer went after, I don't know what that ASA agent was called, but like she
Oh
was like,
yeah, the racist dude. Yeah. And dropped him,
yeah, oh, yeah, like, but she would do that to Barry, and like, listen, she may not have any power, but Lynn Stewart is not. Wait, it was always Lynn Stewart, right? It wasn't Lynn Pierce.
Stewart. Yeah, she never went back
Yeah.
to Lynn. Yeah.
She may not have
She
any
does have
powers.
powers, technically, I think, right? Sort of.
Sort of, yeah, but it's a little bit out. Like Lynn Stewart is she's a badass. So like Barry, like I had to be like, Barry, I'm putting you in the corner. Like, I love you, Barry, normally, but this is the one time like you do not bring up his family, especially after all the insanity that they had to go through in that final season, or in all 4 seasons with Tobias Wells. So, oh good lord, could you imagine if Tobias Wells had ever been a villain, in a crossover for all of them? It would just be so fun to see, not funny, but like both funny and also like just so intense to see what he would have done. But yeah, I guess my 2 cents, like, yeah, I agree. Vanessa, I hadn't even thought about that perspective that you and Nate talked about, where like, yeah, he felt like Jefferson was only there to kind of just take care of the white dude and so on, and like, I see the problems with it. I do think I do love Grant and Crest so much. It's so funny because they've only worked together 2 times, and it feels, but yet like their chemistry on the screen feel like they've worked together for years.
Exactly.
Like there's this other show we haven't seen where they are together and so on. Like I was almost thinking, like, is there a Heart of Dixie season I missed that Grant was on, or like what is, or like would they, did Grant show up on Prison Break with Crest at some point? And yeah, because for people
I
who
was
don't know,
gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if it's a Grant thing but you can tell when he's with this particularly strong scene partner, he like steps it up more, because like some of his scenes with some people versus like Crest, for example, are just like night and day. Like his so much like emotes from his, like, you can see the veins popping out of his neck, like and versus like other scenes where he's like, I'm angry, and you can barely, he's not even excited. Like, like I don't know if it's like a Grant thing or what, but like I've noticed that, especially more in the last couple seasons, it's particularly in this crossover. But I don't know, he's a new dad. Maybe he's just tired. He's just, I gotta choose my battles. Maybe, I don't know.
But I really love it because it feels to me like what I was talking about before, like that their relationships exist past the like frame of this particular moment in time that we're watching. Like that feels really natural and rich and good to me, that it would be that they would have developed since everything happened in Crisis, like a stronger relationship than we have had time to see on the show. If that makes sense.
Definitely, like fighting Felix Faust, apparently.
Yeah.
I want Eric, if you're watching, give us that scene. Go just do a flashback episode. Like, I don't mind. Just take an episode in season 8 and do a flashback episode. Bring back. I hope this will bring us more Crest to the Flash, because I did love Jefferson in this episode. I wish we could have had more of him. And again, also when when Barry was playing the music and Jefferson's like, "You're trying to impress me," and I'm like, it's literally that interview that Salim gave after the series final Black Lightning era, where like he had kind of given a scenario of like if they did a Flash and Black Lightning crossover, Barry would try to put on some music and try to impress all the Black characters. I was like, when I thought, I'm like, oh my god, I need to text Vanessa later tonight and be like, do you remember that interview? Do you remember that interview? I'm like, oh my god, it's happening finally. So, but yeah, yeah, let's look at the chat quickly, and then before we move on, everyone is loving the dynamics. So Animator says Gleek, the pet of the Wonder Twins, was teased at the end of it. Did that poor thing start waiting for Barry and team? I mean, they barely feed the people in the pipeline, so why would they think of a monkey? I also want to see Gleek. Mind the gap, like the Avatar this crossover would be all about these characters again. Yet we got Cecilia yelling at the team. Yeah, yeah, Mine, you're right. I think the music was in an interview somewhere. Yeah, that was Salim Akil back in, I would say, May. I think it was an EW interview right after the series finale. Yeah, so let's see. Chris Keenan says Chris was looking good when he was scooted on Living Single, and he's looking even better now. Yeah, like I'm jealous of Chris Williams. And Keenan also, he was almost tearing up as a relationship he has been wanting to see since Crisis. And Keenan says, give Lynn a shotgun, she's a boss. Yes. 116, everyone. Go watch 116 on Black Lightning, you will know exactly what he's talking about. But yeah, and Minegab says, is this a good idea? Like Brave and the Bold team ups off screen yet? I mean, that's basically what we should see more of. Like what Lazy was talking about. Like we're in this, just because some of these shows end doesn't mean that the characters like universe
the characters go on. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, but I guess shall we move on to the next plot?
We shall.
Yes, and this was my second favorite plot of the episode. When Iris, Stand By Your Man, Wes Allen, finds a video of Joe's death that looks like it's been tampered with, leading her to believe someone is setting Barry up. Which also, let's talk about the fact that Joe fell into train tracks, which is literally like the lamest way to die. They couldn't come up with anything better.
Grandpa Joe killed by a metro train.
Like did anyone notice that? I mean, was there like blood, or was he just gone?
I think he fell so in and got hit by the train, right? Like that's
yeah, but like, would it? I watched Law and Order.
Yeah, there would be like splatter. Like
yeah, there would be some signs of a struggle with the train.
Order. I watched Law and Order.
Well, Cecile said they saw the bodies, so we can discuss that after when we go around.
Yeah, no, she didn't. She said she buried him. That's not the same thing as seeing the body. So as we all know, no body, no crime.
Anyway, Allegra investigates this because Allegra is the only member of Team Flash who actually I think it's not even Team Flash. Allegra is just like actually doing her job for Citizen. Though
she is. I think it was Vanessa. No way. Worries.
I bet.
And they find like all these coincidences. Like apparently this train was early, and Allegra's like, "No, have you ever ridden the metro? It's always late." And then they go to talk to security at the train station, and this guy makes all these excuses. So Iris thinks it's a dead end, and then her weird time powers let her see particles, which I guess is new. And she goes back, and Dion shows up, and she's like, what are these particles? I need you to undo my treatments, even though it's extremely dangerous and I might like disappear, so I can look at all these particles because somehow that will make me solve the case better. And they figure out that is a bunch of decaying isotopes, which are negative still force energy, meaning someone rewrote the timeline, and that's a lot. And we will get to who rewrote the timeline in the next piece. So who wants to start first?
I need to say that if I mean, I guess if I had to see any one of the forces again, like Deanna's probably the least annoying one, but also really, when will I be free?
Never.
Ever?
For Lacey. This is one of Iris and Barry's children now. So
No.
Oh my god! I just
So we're being
what?
called Joe Grandpa or something.
He is a grown man. I just
Isn't
At least
it
it's
because
the-
like he was a grown man who also went back in time, and now he's like his younger self? Is just like confused.
and also is possibly immortal and lives outside of time. I
And
don't.
seems to know more about the forces than the Speed Force ever did.
I
Right.
just don't understand. I have so many questions that I don't really want the answers to because I honestly just want it to go away. So I don't need the answers to this. It doesn't make any sense. Like none of it makes any sense.
Sounds about right.
Breezy, you can't bring up the F word and trigger Lacey like this.
I
This
mean,
is
you
not
know how I
okay.
feel. When will I just let me be free? Just let me be free. from this
Breathe.
force.
I figured you need to apologize to Lacey because now you
Ugh.
upset her.
Like in tears.
I should have told Lacey to cover her ears.
Oh, wait, no, when he showed up in the episode, I was like, "Are you serious?" And also, who gets medical time treatments that you can just unwind? This doesn't. How does this work?
Science fiction.
The power
But
of
yeah.
love.
Right, that's the answer to everything. Barry just told him to be better, and he was like, "Okay."
I am better now.
I mean, if this Barry ever came to me, he's like, "Annie, just be better," I'll be like, "Okay, Daddy, I
You'll be
will
better.
try.
You'll be
Daddy, I
better.
will
Oh,
try."
God. Oh. Oh, my God.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
I'm kidding. He's like 2 years older than me. Like, yeah, I would never call him that. And yeah,
Anyway,
go on.
Tatiana, you would
Yes.
want in?
I also, this was like, second favorite or whatever. It was definitely in the good part of the episode. And I was glad that someone was finally acting like a real person, like the way that someone would actually in the Flash series. Like, of course, you have a mysterious death of a loved one, and suddenly Barry is acting like he's from another timeline. You would probably be looking into that. So I liked how Iris was doubting the truth or doubting what she thought was the truth, both because she wanted to protect Barry and she wanted to clear, Barry's name, but also because of her own, not to say because of her own grief, but as usual, she has been repressing her emotions and repressing her grief and just going along with like what is best for everyone. But now it's like she finally has the opportunity to like process things in her own way. And obviously maybe like, I guess I would like to pretend like she had previously had doubts about the situation, but buried them because it was like too much for people, right? Apparently it makes Seal go bonkers if you suggest the possibility of Joe being alive. So she had just, put it aside before. And thank God for Allegra. Like, shout out to Allegra for actually being Team Iris, not just in name only, and going out of her way to stay with Iris and to push Iris to keep investigating even after Iris wanted to give up. That was very pleasing to mine eyes. Also, Dion, another member of Team Iris, love that he did not even care about Barry. He was like, I mean, I don't really care if Barry goes to jail or is killed by Despero, as long as your time sickness doesn't act up, Mom. So
He's a mama's boy.
yes. So I enjoyed
When
that
will I
too.
be free?
But yeah,
in the chat, send your support to Lazy at Lazy MB or in the chat here. Lazy needs it right now.
Keep her in your thoughts at this time.
Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and
but
prayers.
yeah,
I
so
mean,
I was really happy to see some investigative work being done and to see, getting some answers about what in, Bebo's name is going on here.
Vanessa, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I really like when Iris gets to do like her investigating things. So she like processes her grief by like diving into things and investigating things. And I agree that she probably did at one point wanted to maybe check into things, but grief is a monster and like she just couldn't do it and buried it and just got through it. And especially if, maybe Cecile was maybe not handling things the best, she probably had to step up and be the strong one as per usual. So I appreciate seeing her kind of go through all of this. And like Candace is such a good actor. Like she says so much with her face. And sometimes I'm like, I think that might have just been Candace reacting and not Iris, especially when like Cecile slammed the computer. I know that was the scene that everyone was freaking out about. And then I was like, okay, let me breathe before she gets the hands. And I just love that moment so much. But I agree. Actually, this episode did a lot in putting a lot of good points in Allegra's book for me. She's one of my least favorite characters. I'm going to be very honest about it. I don't really like her. I think she was written in just the way it was, the whole Wells thing, all of that was just not my favorite thing. So it kind of stained my view of her as a character, but this episode really put her back to like a B+ for me.
Yes.
Because she was like, I was like, I cannot believe Allegra would just stick by Cecile's side. And then she was just right there with Iris. And she was like, I really love that. And like, did push her to keep, she's like, I don't know about that. You know your instincts. Like, I just really appreciate Allegra being there for her. And that actually fleshes her out more as a character. So I liked it. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about the He Who Must Not Be Named because I don't want to set Lacey off again. So I'm just going to.
Lacey is our Cecile.
That's right. I'm going to start shooting lasers out of my eyes at any moment.
I was like, I can feel I'm getting hot over here. Lacey's gonna. I'm okay.
I got boosted, and all of a sudden,
I'm just glad that one of the overlays I didn't put up was the photo of Iris and Dion. So like, I'm like, or did I? No, I'm kidding.
It's fine. I've already prepared myself that he's inevitably going to be like in next week's episode. It's fine.
Yeah.
Do you mean like this? No, I'm kidding. No, it's not him.
Oh wow.
Also, by the way, Vanessa, are you happy that we got?
I am happy. I was so happy that he looks like an alien at least some of the time, and he's got the third eye and everything. He's a big boy. I'm happy. I'm glad.
He is fake. Cute. Yeah, no, like all I've been thinking about since that character spot, like every time Despero shows up, I'm like, let him be fake, and then he was fake. I'm like, yes, Vanessa and I, we won.
I love winning.
I love winning too. No, please go on.
No, I think I'm done. I was like, that was
okay. I don't think there's much I can add to. Like, I think Allegra and Iris, like, I like that relationship quite a lot, and like it really it kind of washed away some of the bad taste in my mouth after Cecile did her Cecile-ness, and also like, even though I get that the Fs are not our most favorite things in the show. I am happy that you know who. I'm trying to I don't want to trigger Lacey. I want you to have a good Wednesday night. So I'm trying to be as careful as I can here. But I did like that he came back. Not he as in he, but like he as in,
Jesus, he's risen.
I love that he came back and was still like, Iris, I can't, if I undo this, then you're time sickness. But I love that Iris kind of got to have she's the one who's able to see that something is going on here. Kina, I can't throw up that comment because it has two words that is not gonna be good for Lacey. I love
fine. I have the chat open. I can see it.
Keenan says, if I have to see one of the Fs again, it can be D. He's the most tolerable. I do make because I think the actor, he's really good.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, and it could have been worse. It could have been Fuerza. That would have been worse.
Like, now that he's not being evil, he's actually kind of charming, and fun.
I agree.
I'm gonna lie, he's a cutie pie.
That is true. He is.
And also, I love his Letterman jacket. I love the symbol. They've kind of made it as like a. Lacey, be prepared now, but like the Still Force logo. Oh, now there's a negative. I mean,
I don't understand anything about the negative Still Force. Wouldn't just the negative Still Force just be the Speed Force? Isn't that the opposite of stillness?
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to break anyone's brain, but like that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, how can you have a negative Still Force? It's just speed. It's just movement.
My buddy Chainsaw Reacts here. He's like, I need part 4 now. Boy, we all need part 4 right now. Do you think I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. Not 6 more days.
Not alone.
Kina is like, he's being like, sorry, I'm cooking, so my comment a little late. Oh, you're blaming on the food. Oh, okay.
Hey, as
Kina.
long as you're bringing, home cooked meal to the party.
Yeah. But I guess that's it for the episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Nothing else happened. So, I mean, what a boring episode. I just, I can't believe. Oh,
You want to take us home, Lacey?
Oh, goodness.
Fun reveal.
So somehow in 10 years, Barry is not only going to destroy the world or whatever, everything we know about literally every character is somehow going to change because Barry runs to the future because time travel is Barry's default problem-solving method. Even though somehow the negative still force or the positive still force, which is not speed, somehow helps him get his speed so he can run to the future. Whatever. Moving on. He gets there and oh look, there's all these guest stars. There's Brian Wilder, there's Alex Danvers, there's Ryan Choi. Like they're all at this party because Iris is apparently marrying Eobard Thawne? WTF? Anyone? I have so many questions. But I'm pretty stoked that this means I'm definitely getting Mia next week, so I stay winning. That's all I got.
I think we have to let Vanessa start on this.
I have questions.
So I have been waiting for this day my entire life.
Yes. Should have put Vanessa's name on there. Like, Vanessa.
Written by Vanessa Shark.
I am elated. I haven't felt like this about the show in years. I am so geeked. Oh my God. Like, it's so incredibly ridiculous. Like, it's absurd. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's such a good Eobard plan. And the fact that we know Damien is somehow a part of it makes it so much funner because it's like Legion of Doom vibes. Every single second, oh my God, the acting in the scene. Grant as Barry in the scene, you could see the color just completely drained from his face. Like, how did his body even do that? Like, you can't even do that on command. That was beautiful. And then just Iris looking gorgeous with her red hair and green two-piece suit. And then I realized, I think my friend pointed out to me that was the same day she did the TikTok with Batwoman with Janisha, like, which is adorable. Forever gonna associate those two scenes together now. Everyone was there. Apparently, I think Ryan had a wedding ring on her. I saw that, noticed that.
Vanessa saw it. Y'all gaslighting me.
What? We didn't say anything.
I just said I didn't notice it. I didn't say it didn't exist.
So she's married to somebody, which is great. I can't wait to explore that next episode. But like, Eobard's making this big speech. Like, oh my God. Like, listen, I'm gonna bring this up because Tom has been teasing like Iris divorcing Barry and moving on with Eobard or Wells for so long. Like, he's been teasing this at least two Comic-Cons that I've been at, where he's literally like, oh, we got like a little Iris Wells romance coming up. He's been teasing this for years. He is winning. Tom Cavanaugh wouldn't come back. He's like, I'll come back if I can hold hands with Candace Patton. And he got his wish. He's winning. And you know what? Candace and Tom have such a great relationship. It's such a great friendship. I love that they get to like play this, whatever this little weird dynamic is. And let me be clear. I love Eobard Thawne. Do I ship Eobard with anyone in the comics? No. Because he's not a good person. He's a villain. And people kill him a lot. He kills a lot of people. So I don't really ship him with anyone in the comics. But the TV show, it's hard not to because of Tom's chemistry with a lot of people. And Matt Letcher, too, has great chemistry with people. Mm-hmm. So it's just the way they act with people. So it's hard not to. So, like, this is just my little heart, my little, Iris heart is just like, and there's many of ways this could be. This could be him literally physically switching lives with Barry, like it happens in the old comics.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you want me to throw up the comic?
Because, like it could be that very, very that, or it could be something else. I'm not sure, but it could be that. I'm excited if it's, regardless of what it is, it's still Eobard being a creep. And that's Barry on brand for Eobard. He is so obsessed with Barry that he wants everything that Barry has. So why wouldn't it be more speed and Barry's wife, his family? Like in the comics, in the newer comics, he created his own Flash family, turning the Tornado Twins against their dads. Like, Eobard is crazy. Like, I love him. This is very on brand for him. I'm so excited. All right, I'm done.
That was beautiful.
Well, Vanessa, tell us how you really feel. No, I love
Truly
like when that scene happened. I sprinted to Vanessa's Twitter account to be like, "Has she seen it?" And I see like she posted her like there was a photo of you like wearing a Reverse Flash T-shirt and be like, "I'm so excited for this," and I'm just like, "Oh," I'm like.
That's absolutely common.
Yeah, and then I was like, I think we picked the right episode for Vanessa to come on because I know because she was supposed to come on last week, but I'm like, Vanessa, I think it's Jefferson's just in one scene. I think you should maybe come on next week, and then for this to happen, I'm like, oh, this is like Christmas came early for Vanessa. Well, who's next?
Toddy, let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be next because I have to run away from the pain soon. So, however, it is not pain where EO, Iris, Wes Wells, whatever you want to call them, is canon. I was very excited by this turn of events as well, even though it's very impossible for me to imagine like a straightforward timeline where 10 years from now Iris would marry Eobard for like any reason.
I
right?
mean, truly incredible.
Right, unless
Truly.
she's like double agenting, right? If there's like something like that, then that would be fine. Yeah. But exactly. But more likely, there's timeline maneuvering, some kind of manipulation going on from the Legion of Doom. But either way, I am very excited to get some of our best villains back. Finally, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, get the age-old Eobard versus Barry battle and perhaps a reason for its existence that we never really got in season 1 and in subsequent seasons. So, plus, Barry having to see Iris with another man has not happened since the likes of, like, Eddie. So I'm ready. Also, just imagine, I feel so bad for poor...
Keenan.
Iris.
Yes, Thyris. That is a great name, Thyris. There you go. It sounds like Iris is like doing the Thigh Master or something. But either way, you know what? Eobard's giving her a workout. I am sure of that.
My God.
Send us your fan fiction recommendations.
Oh my God! I mean, listen. We're gonna have a lot of hiatus episodes, and one of it is probably gonna be another fanfic episode. So if you have virus or a fanfic with us,
I keep hearing virus, and I'm like, that works too.
I just mine again. There was a comic where Fawn was wearing Embarrass's face. I actually wanted to show this because I actually have the issue. Funny story. My mom didn't realize that the West Island hashtag was on the frame when she was framing this for me. So I'm like, how did you know how to put it in that frame? She's like, what's the West Island? And I'm like, well, Mom, shipping is when you put two characters together and whatever and so on. It's when did this come out? It was in 19. Well, it's from, I don't know. It's from I guess it's from the late 70s or something. It was definitely an old comic. So yeah, one bridegroom too many.
Yes.
Chainsaw, I love you too. Appreciate the love. But go subscribe to his channel. He has a lot of fun reaction videos. So he's good stuff. Iris, Toddy, you remind me so much of Iris. But if you need to run off, run into the.
Yes, I must run towards the pain, but then
run.
Health. Okay.
But yeah, you guys can go follow her at Marcella's Ear. Go listen to Ladies with Gumption, Popular Card, find her articles and interviews on Screen Rant, Marvel Report.
Do all those things.
With an
24/7 on me.
Yes, and we will see you. We will see you next week, Tade. So
Bye.
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 Endeavor 4. But I guess Breeze, your turn.
Yeah, no, I was like literally like because I was the one live tweeting last night. I was like yelling at my TV. I'm like, what in the H is going on? Like, I did think it was a fun scene. Like weirdly, my favorite part of the scene is when everyone's looking at Barry with like such disgust because I just really want to know what happened that they all think he's like literal dirt and hate him. Like
also,
even
Chester
Ryan,
has dreads now.
Oh yeah, I did like how they showed like the time difference. But like
Right, that he
even
grew up.
Ryan, who has never met Barry, is like, I effing hate you. Like, get out of here. Like, just or look. So I really want to know what Ebard, because I assume he's changed other things in the timeline to make it this way. But yeah, I was just like, okay, we're doing
Can you change the
this.
seal? I said what I said. Can you
I mean,
change the
she's
seal?
at Iris's engagement party, so maybe they've patched things up.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, no one has aged in 10 years. I'm like, it must be nice to be them.
But yeah, not much more to say to that. I feel like we've gotten all our Tom Cavanaugh thirst out and all our shots. So
Well, I don't think Vanessa's done with Tom Cavanaugh first. If you wanna give us some more Vanessa.
No, I think I'm I'm good. No,
You've met him, right? You've met Tom
Huh?
Cavanaugh, right?
Yeah, the same con I met Tati at. Like I actually met her like 10 minutes after I met him. Comic-Con 2019. I met him. He was the only one. I was the only one he took a picture with. I was dressed up in like a Reverse Flash Iris outfit.
Yes.
So I've been on this for like years.
Yeah. She has the receipts. She has the proof. She's been there. Yeah. Oh my god. Now I'm jealous of Toddy that you guys got to meet. I don't know. Did we know each other? Did we meet?
Yeah.
Did we? We knew each other back. Yeah, because I think you started doing Watchmen at that point.
Tati
2019.
and I follow each other on Tumblr. We actually met first on Tumblr, and then we follow each other on Twitter, and then I got invited by you to do or by Wendy to do the podcast. And then I realized she was on the podcast network as well, because the Flash podcast. And then, then we just ended up talking more.
So. Well, hopefully, because I was like 2019, that was the last time any of us could do cons before everything happened. But yeah, no, I screamed so hard because like when I saw the sign where it says West Party, I'm like, oh no, are they about to do? Because I thought like there's no way they're doing this, but I'm like, oh my god, they're about to do this. I'm like, this is the Armageddon that Eric has really been teasing. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of Barry's world. Like it's end of. Like, I understand now why he said that, like Bear and I are really gonna go through it and so on. And again, I love Tom Cavanaugh so much in this role, and I like the fact that he's been manifesting this for years. Like again, because if you guys just there are videos of like a lot of I think ET online interviews where like at Comic-Con where Tom is like like Westworld and Grant is just like so against it. Like Grant is just like he's like you go away, go stop. Shh. He's almost like pretty don't stop talking. It's we don't need no one wanted you here. You don't even go here, Tom. So I really love that he's getting what he wants. And it's also, but you know what? It is so on point for Fawn, especially after what happened in 718, where like Barry literally effed with Fawn's existence. And you know what? Like this is like listen, Reverse Flash. Like, I am so happy that even though like people. People were I saw some people say on Twitter like, oh, so they mark it as a Despero crossover event, but it's actually just Reverse Flash. But I'm like, this is perfect because it comes right off of what happened last season, and also like but it's still like it still feels different from like what we saw in season 1 with Reverse Flash. So and again, just what has happened to everyone in like I was just looking at Chester. I'm like, Chester P. Rugg? Who are you? And also I love it. Sorry?
Was Caitlin at the thing? I didn't notice.
It didn't look like it. Maybe
Okay,
Cecile.
No, she was not.
Maybe
that's interesting. Her absence is interesting.
Maybe Caitlin and Cecile had a fall that's falling on. Cecile's like, you're not part of the team anymore.
I mean, I don't. It's just so weird to be like just the mix of people who were present, and I know part of it is like who they got to be on the show, but like,
right,
Ryan Choi is there, but Cisco couldn't pop over from wherever.
Right,
like.
Yeah. And also,
I don't know.
like,
Maybe in like the divorce, Barry got Cisco and Caitlin. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
That
definitely.
actually feels logical. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
But you know what's funny? Like, I noted John Core, who plays Shilblade, he was listed in the guest list in the episode, but he never showed up once. I think he had one of his scenes deleted. Unless he was somewhere in the room and we just didn't see him. Also, I love that some people were like pointing out that while everyone was like raising a glass, Allegra was raising her bottle. I'm like, why did she get the bottle? Like, what happened to Allegra? And yeah, I didn't notice the ring on Ryan's finger. So like, does that did Wildmore happen, or is it someone
That's what
else?
everyone's thinking. It's either Wildmore or someone else. But yeah.
Yeah, and like I love that like there was that moment where like Ryan was just looking so lovingly at Iris. I'm just like, oh, I just wonder like what is their friendship gonna be like? I'm so excited to see them. And yeah, now that because Vanessa brought up the TikTok that they did together, and probably the only reason why I even registered for a TikTok account. It's my sin. It's my sin that I'm on TikTok. You will never see a TikTok from me, but I will. Like I was, I wanted to just follow Canada to be supportive. I'm just like,
I just assume that all the good ones people will put on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine enough for me.
True.
All right, I'll let y'all watch them 3 weeks late. I'll be on TikTok where I watch all my cat videos.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I there's so many questions, and again, I'm just like, so just no one ages in 10 years. That's cool. I wish all of us, like, as long
Well,
as
you want Iris to be like wearing a gray wig? She's only like
Yeah,
30.
that-
She's not gonna
not that
like,
much
look
older.
terrible.
okay, fair
Early
enough.
30s.
But yeah, they looked so disgusting with Barry. And again, like to Vanessa's point, I love how protective Grant is of West Allen. So much to the point where, like, again, his body just magically transforms. Just seeing Candace and or Iris with another man, and like, ugh, I love him so much. I love, like, it's just he doesn't even say anything. He has to just show up and be like, I want to kill something. He is gonna fly onto sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. Fly onto to Eopor and be like, I gave you your life back, and this is how you repay me. I will destroy you. But yeah, let's see what the comments is saying really quickly. Chainsaw has a good point. The ending was perfect in terms of its reveal and making us have so many questions. And also, Keenan is giving an update. He's making chicken and dumplings.
That sounds delicious. Send me your recipe.
Like, can I Uber Eats that, or
If only you had Barry or Cara Danvers to go pick it up for you.
Right.
Oh, and I guess Cara was still off world and she couldn't make it to West Fawn's
10 years later.
Yeah.
But she's friends with Barry too. Maybe he got her
I mean,
in
I
the
think you
divorce
have to
too.
consider that like some people probably did pick Barry in the breakup.
Yeah. I do still think it was a missed opportunity for this being Ryan Wilder's team up and not one where with her meeting another hero on the screen. Well, she's gonna be in the next week's episode, so there could still be that we do still meet them in the present. Because Eric did say in our interview that Barry knows of Ryan Wilder as Batwoman. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, there was that. Yeah, that was the arc I was talking about. Bringing this back, virus. It does sound like virus. Keita says the face we're going to see was everything. There was there's a lot of good face acting in this scene. Definitely. Minegap said, I find it think that this is how the show commonly does crossover, like social events, like weddings and parties. Well, this is again what I think what Lacey was saying both in this episode and a few weeks ago, that these characters should not just get together when the world is ending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like like if it's like the all of us on the network when we do crossovers or when we do things. It's not when we just like just talk about an episode of a TV show. We get together to talk about social stuff and like other things we like. You know what I mean? Like listen to us just having tangents on air. So it's just I think it all makes sense. But yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for our episode discussion. So guys, in the chat, load up with your final episode feedback, as we're gonna do some listener favorite from Twitter and emails, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. So, Lacey, shall we take turns on the tweets?
Time for the tweets. When I open the actual document that contains the tweets.
Did you close the doc? That's a crime.
No, I just had multiple Google Docs open because I'm a multitasker, and I was like, none of you really want my thoughts on Star Trek Discovery right now. Okay, tweets. Here we go. The KT Walker says, "Of course I'm late with my tweets, but when Black Lady said it's your lightning, you keep it, I screamed. I've missed Jefferson. Also, my fighting evil rule of thumb is if there is a third eye or jewel on their head, aim for it." That is actually really, yeah.
Casey Lyle once says, "Tonight was probably the best acting I've seen in this show, possibly in the Arrowverse. The Cecile and Iris argument was so incredibly well done by all. Acting was, that was some powerful acting, but I don't know the writing of it all. The show's taking giant leaps over the last season. I just hope it keeps it up after Armageddon. So cool to see some familiar faces. I'd give it up and seeing Ryan Choi again. Better be seeing some costumes next week. I'm looking at YouTube video Leslie, Kyler Lee, Arthur John, whoever else wants to don some ties. Looks like Barry really pisses some people off. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Chef Danny says, "Now we know who's messing with the timeline and why, but still crazy to see it. Best season so far."
At Mjolnir MK86, I'm honestly not surprised who's behind this Armageddon shenanigans.
You know, I think we all knew that too, but it feels really good to kind of have it confirmed. You know what I mean? Like now it really starts. We don't have to pretend that it's not a different weird broken timeline or something. No. All right, where are we? Here we go. Dan Tila 22 says, "I thought it was incredible and shocking. I loved it. Thumbs up."
And then finally we have Quakes the Goon says, "5 Married Iris? Dude, it is effing crazy. I'm going effing nuts right now." That's just the way I assume they sound like, but you know. But it was literally "Fawn Married Iris" in caps. All right, then emails. Breeze, hit us up.
Okay, Electra writes, "Hey Flash podcast team, how are you? I have some thoughts about this week's Flash episode. Why does Cecile keep forgetting Iris exists? When I say that, I mean Cecile is acting as if she's the only one affected by Joe's death and claiming she knows Barry better than anyone else. What is with this unacceptable Iris erasure?" I think we all agree on that one. Barry tells this is formatted as a conversation. Barry tells Jefferson about Despero. Jefferson, and you believe him? Jefferson asking the real questions here. Barry seems so ready to take Despero at his word that he doesn't even consider another speedster may have caused the Armageddon, especially since Thawne already threatened to come back. Barry would benefit from a little more critical thinking sometimes. Apologies if there's background noise. I think my upstairs neighbor is vacuuming. The sparkly floaty stuff Iris was seeing reminded me of those video game graphics that appear when you're supposed to take a closer look at something. That's actually extremely accurate.
Very accurate.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is Iris's time sickness connected to what Thawne is doing in 2031? Did he change something in her past to ensure the future? If so, here's a possible theory. Just like Iris is Barry's lightning rod, maybe he's a tether for her as well. Interesting.
Ooh.
Perhaps Ebard has been connecting to alter something in the past to prevent Iris and Barry from being together, but their connection is too strong, so Iris is glitching in and out of time, but always coming back to the timeline where she's with Barry. It's another interesting theory. Despero went all scanners on Dylan. I don't know what scanners is referencing. Yeah. I was waiting for her head to explode. And then they wanted Matt Letcher back, which I feel like Tatiana. I know you're always saying that, Andy. Is it you who always says that? So they agree with you.
I mean, I would love to see Matt Letcher back at some point, but I think he's also busy on another show. And at this point, if you have Tom Cavanaugh, who is amazing, then go with Tom Cavanaugh. And also, he's the one who has wanted Virus for years.
Actually, Matt Ledger said the Flash hasn't contacted him since season 2, so they don't want him back. He said that in a post or something, like in a comment. Like
that feels really rude.
Yeah, they don't. It's not a Matt decision. It's a Flash.
That's weird since they had him on a whole season of Legends too. I don't know what's up with that, but maybe Eric will change his mind. Or it was probably before Eric was even showrunner. But they say no hate to my fellow Canadian Tom. And it keeps going. Let me see. Looks like Alex is getting some actual stuff to do instead of appearing on a computer screen. And nice to see Ryan Wilder. Parentheses Wilder, enjoy. Thanks for reading. Libby says, hi Flash podcast. Overall, I enjoyed part 3, but it very much felt like a transitional episode to let us process the fallout from last week and find out about Joe's death. While the fight between Iris and Cecile in the beginning was a bit contrived, I like that it allowed Iris and Allegra to conduct their own investigation. I'm so happy we are finally getting more scenes with Iris and Allegra together so we can see their mentoring relationship. It was very honorable for Iris to sacrifice her health to find out the truth, but I wonder what the consequences would be. I am also worried about that. I think Cecile's story would have worked better if the acting was toned down. I think we all agree on that. Given there was no mention of Joe's death for the first 2 episodes, it was a sudden shift in tone. I did like the conversation with Caitlin, which called back to how cold she was in season 1. I get this was supposed to be a crucible moment for Cecile, but it just didn't land for me and led Despero right to Barry. Speaking of overreacting, didn't make sense that Barry would be so adamant to get rid of his speed since he spent most of season 6 trying to get it back. My favorite scene with Jefferson was when Barry talked about the music Joe used to play growing up. I wish there were more moments that honored Joe's legacy rather than showing the grief that will soon be irrelevant. Again, while contrived, I enjoyed the fight scene with Black Lightning, especially the shocking moment when Flash destroyed Oliver's world. Yeah, I don't think we talked about that. That was like a very intense moment when he's like, is this what Oliver would have wanted? And Barry's like, I don't know, he's dead.
And he's like, I'm gonna throw this bow and arrow at the ground.
Anyway, speaking of like not respecting the dead, they didn't really. Barry's like, I don't care about Oliver. It reminds me of that meme of Grant on his grave. That was pretty much that whole scene.
No, what is like?
Yeah, Stephen Amell hates that meme, and I love it so much more because he hates
it. Vanessa took the words right out of my mouth. That was me. Like, I'm like, Stephen doesn't like it. This doesn't like it.
Now to the end scene. I'm so shocked that Ebard was able to change lines somehow marrying Iris, who is notably no longer West Ellen. To hear Ebard say his famous phasing speech in such a different context was well done, as it seemed he knew Barry was listening. I mean, yeah, I don't think Barry was invisible. Like everyone was staring at him and chose those words to taunt him. I'm still processing it, but all I know is next week is going to be insane, and I can't wait. Cheers, Libby.
Yeah, no, thanks for your email, Libby. Thanks for everyone's feedback. You can always tweet us at the Flash Podcast right after the episode is aired, or email theflash@gmail.com if you have longer thoughts, and we will read as many as we get as we have time on the show. Let me look in the chat and see if there is anything else people have said before we wrap things up. Yeah, no, when Oliver's costume just like they just threw into it, I'm like, kind of lazy. You know, you love Arrow so much. I'm just like, I wonder if Lazy's like really angry at Barry right now.
The disrespect. Sorry, Mia's gonna come take her dad's bow back. Like, deal with that.
I am excited to see Mia. Actually, she's cute. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think she's definitely in part 5. I do wonder. I almost wonder if she's also going to show up like at the end of part 4.
Because I feel like, well, I was trying to figure this out, and I was like, well, how old would she be in 2031? And I'm like, I don't know,
like early 30s, no?
But I guess because I was like, all right, he's clearly not going to go to like her future, because like, why would he just jump forward in time again? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, right, because she was like a baby or 1 year old when Oliver died, right? So like,
when was she born? If she was born, wait, hold on, let me bring up a calculator here.
Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to make us do math.
It's your
but
fault.
like I was thinking about it because I
2019.
was like, she has to show up because he's in the future, and he's not going to go to a different future.
Okay, let's see.
Right.
2040 minus 2019. That would make her 21. right now. In the from the Green and the Canary pilot, she's 21 years old.
Yeah, but they're not going to 2040. They said 10 years, right? So that would be
It's- yeah,
2030.
yeah.
She will be 11.
So
And
not
then,
Cat McNamara.
unless they do whatever like weird Disney CGI age thingy where like Robert Downey Jr. suddenly looks like he's like 20 years old in Civil War. But I do think I think something will happen in 2031 that affects 2040, and that's why she comes back to the present.
Probably. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Mia too. But like, yeah, when Oliver's costume just got tarnished and the bow fell on her, I was like, somewhere.
Maybe that's what it was.
She's like, you destroyed my father's legacy.
It's possible that she could have taken it at some point and like out of the hall. We don't know if the Hall of Justice is still around in her time period.
Still unfinished, no paint.
Maybe she grabbed it, but maybe she grabbed it and like it's like that thing with like if you damage something in the past, it destroyed in the past or whatever it happens, affects in the future. Maybe she's like, what happened? I was using this.
But like in the Green and Canary's pilot, didn't she have that bow already?
Do you think they're gonna actually canonize the pilot that's not even a
Eric said that but basically told me that basically as homework people should rewatch the pilot.
I'm not gonna rewatch it, but yeah,
it's fine. I don't know. Nate and I really did rewatch it. We did a live rewatch on my YouTube channel, and I was like, what could they be going for here? Like, are they gonna finish the Williams storyline, whatever? But we will see. But I guess that's gonna do it for this week's episode of our coverage of Armageddon. Vanessa, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us so much laughter. Again, I'm looking at your tweet right now with the fond love, and it's like, again, I picked the right episode for her to come on to. So thank you for joining us. Where can they find you on social media and anything else you want to plug?
You can find me Vanessa Shark, that's right there on the screen. On everything, I talk about Eobard, especially a lot this week. But yeah, and also the Naomi podcast I'll be guesting on. So I'm good. That's all. You got me. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys. I always love talking about Flash stuff, especially Reverse Flash. So thank you.
Also, by the way, I just realized they mentioned that when the security guard was talking about the power grid was so they said Shark Stadium. I'm like, I'm just gonna take it as something they named after Vanessa Shark. That's my headcanon. So yeah, go follow her on social media and check out her stuff. And also, she's on the Literation Room, I know there's definitely several episodes already of that has come up. So if you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's so much fun. Lacey, where you at, girl? Where on social media and on your other projects?
I'm at Lacey MB on Twitter. That is LACYMB, and I write a bunch of places around the entertainment web, but most relevant to our audience, I am on the Flash beat at Den of Geek. So come hear all my thoughts there, or read all my thoughts there that you just heard here. And I am on another podcast called Televisions, which is about British TV and culture. So if you two are into superheroes and period dramas, you should come check us out.
And Breeze, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Breeze Riley, Telltale TV, The Marvel Report, and hopefully one day soon, Justice League Dark will make its triumphant return. Shout out to Keenan in the chat. So make sure you subscribe to that.
And you can find me at Andy Behbakht on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Vero. You can also find me over the Titans and Doomsday podcast. Find all my writing at Screen Rant and the Marvel Report. And yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of this podcast, you can find us over at theflashpodcast.com for all the latest information about the Flash TV show and more. You can follow us on social media at the Flash Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check us out there. You can email us at theflashpodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions, thoughts, episode feedback, or questions for us. Because we do, like, even if we don't always have to reply to everything, we do read everything. So there's that. Don't forget you can subscribe to the Flash Podcast everywhere where you listen to podcasts at, including our podcast. So if you have some moment, a free moment of your time, go to Apple Podcast and help us on 5-star reviews, and leave us a nice review, your thoughts, what you love about the Flash TV show and about the podcast, because it's one of the best ways to support the podcast. The more 5 stars we get, the higher we get on the Apple Podcast store, so more people can find us. And of course, check out the entire DC Podcast Network with podcasts for pretty much every DC TV show that exists. So DCPodcast.com, follow us at DC TV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our mega feed on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else where you listen to podcasts on. And yeah, so that's gonna be it. So everyone in the chat, thank you so much for tuning in. We're having so much fun with these live shows and also having people come on from the network. So again, Vanessa, thank you so much. Hopefully, if there's more crazy funness later this season, we will kidnap you and we will talk all things Earbird Fawn.
I am a Thon enthusiast. A Thon.
Are you a Cyrus enthusiast? I just wanted to say that once.
Yes.
Cyrus.
Keenan, look what you've done. Keenan, look what you've done. Cyrus.
It's a thing now. It's happening. It's beyond us.
Yeah, maybe we should do a poll on Twitter and see what people think. And then people start fighting, being like, "How dare you all make a poll? It is already called insert word." So thank you for joining Vanessa and everyone. We will see you next week. So don't forget to check us out again at Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern with some other guests. I don't know why I did the Mr. Burns thing.
Who's our guest next week that you're doing evil fingers?
Joining us is actually Tom Cavanaugh and Matt Letcher having a fun off. That sounded very dirty. So it's probably a good time to stop there. All right, so everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, I'm gonna play this intro. So everyone, what do you say your goodbyes? Your final virus first. Oh my god, what's happening to us? Everyone.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.